Breathe in, out, out. I will let you in, out, out. I will let out, out, out. I will let out, out, out. I will let in.
So we got here the Ace of Pentacles. And like all aces, this is a beginner's card. So it's the thought of something. For this is a thought of a business. It has all the earth signs. So Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn that we can see right over here. And yes, this is my handwriting, you guys, if you haven't figured it out. Like the wands, there's going to be multiple ingredients that go into creating a coin. There's going to be different types of coins, so different types of business ideas or different types of financial ideas. That's going to help us grow and create a foundation for success. That's why we have this magical root. So we're learning about our roots and discovering what creates success. So this is the idea of wealth, security, stability. Like all other minor cards, you're going to need a clarity card to gain further insight, but by itself, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? This is all about money, the idea of money. The Two of Pentacles is the first Capricorn decan, so it's going to be Capricorn Saturn. This card represents some kind of beneficial, even contractual partnership of some kind. If you can look in the background right here, we got the Ace of Pentacles in the background. And again, with the number 2 in numerology, it's the union of action and thought. So with the Ace of Pentacles, it was the thought of financial gain or wealth, stability, security. With the Two of Pentacles, you are now acting on that desire or acting on those thoughts. In the background, there's a little safe here. So it can predict saving up for hard times. It can also predict saving up for some type of business deal. If two people are going into business together, then they both need to put into the safe. They both need to fund it. It shouldn't be unbalanced. If this card pops up in a relationship spread, then this card actually means that the union between two people is built on a more solid foundation, but it's more logical, it's more financial between the both of them. Not to say that they don't love each other, but they one or the other or both might love money just a little bit more. Negatively speaking, this can predict a separation of finances, or again, an unbalanced partnership where one is doing more than the other. If these two people are striving to create a home or to create a business together, they're both going to have to define each other's roles. There's going to be certain restrictions or limitations. The Three of Pentacles is the second Capricorn decan, so it's going to be Capricorn Venus. If we look really closely over here, we see the scales and we see the money hand over here. So this is somebody who's organizing and balancing both education and finances, their skills and realistic expectations. So when we see this card on the table, we know we have to be efficient. We have to start managing our time better. This card also represents some type of multitasking. So it could predict that a person may be responsible for multiple tasks or duties. And it could be a person that likes doing these things. They like to be busy. They like to be productive. Look closer at the clock, you guys, and it's at the 3rd hour. There's a lot of threes going on here. 3 little ink bottles, the number 3 over here, and this is the Three of Pentacles, and that was intentional. In numerology, 3 is the number for creation, for magic. So this is somebody working hard in building something that's magical to them. Like there's magic when it comes to organizing, when it comes to time management. Not everybody is built that way. If this card is in reversed, then it predicts some type of information overload. Like a person is just doing way too much and they don't need to do that. They just need to keep it simple and keep it pushing. Or it can mean that a person is just overworking themselves and they're just not giving their brain or their physical self or whatever it is, they're not giving it a break. They're too involved. And when somebody's too involved, they become overly critical, either of themselves or of other people that are involved. But overall, this card is the beauty of work itself and having the awareness to manage time and learning as you go, learning as you work. The Four of Pentacles is the last Capricorn decan, so it's Capricorn Mercury. This is the Architect card, so it's the Builder's card. As you can see in the background, there's this huge pyramid, which really represents the foundation for success, and it's only up from there. So this is a very fortunate card to have when you see it on the table. And if we look really closely, we have this beautiful little oasis here, but we also have this camel with coins on its back. And it's almost as if the camel is bringing gold to this person over here. So when we have a solid foundation like this, we start to see more opportunities coming in. And it might not be fully built yet, but the vision is there. And the vision is grand. And it's going to be a lot of hard work and labor, but this person or people involved are willing to do it. So it's this huge commitment in planning, in structuring our dreams, our goals. It's a long-term vision. And if this card is in reverse, it means that people may abandon it before it's even finished, before it's even completed. They might be quitting way too soon. Or it can mean that the foundation itself is very rocky. And it can also mean some sort of uprising too. Like, when you think of the pyramid, you think of a bunch of people coming together and creating something. So this card is not really an independent card, like, oh, I'm going to do it myself. It involves the cooperation of other people. So when it's in reversed, depending on what the question is, it could mean that people that are involved in this project want nothing to do with it because of the person who's managing it or supervising it. And it can also mean a lack of resources to build whatever needs to be built. If a person doesn't manage their time or their money correctly, then nothing's going to get done. So it's having the experience and the knowledge to know where resources need to be implemented or where people can be very useful. It's this huge plan to create something, and it can require groups of people just to manage it. The Five of Pentacles is the first decan of Taurus, so it's going to be Taurus Venus. When I painted this card, I really wanted to go out of my comfort zone. But looking at this tree, this like witch kind of tree here, I wanted to portray some kind of envy. That's why we see a lot of green here. This is somebody who's envious or jealous of this person over here and is willing to tear down another person just to get ahead. Or it could be a person in somebody's life that is very possessive of their wealth and their possessions. Like possessions as in their house, their car, anything that's material. It can be this type of hierarchy too, where we're talking about maybe the government, or maybe we're talking about a boss or a manager, somebody that's standing in the way and preventing this person from advancing in life financially. Or they might be belittling another person, making sure that mentally they just will never feel like they're going to be successful. We have these Venus flytraps in the background over here, which predict a trap of some kind. So a person might think that a business deal is really tempting or it sounds really good, but it's just a trap, and this person's going to be left with absolutely nothing. They're just going to get their money taken from them. It's a strong warning. So it's you advising the client or yourself that you need to secure whatever you have, preserve whatever money that you do have, because financial difficulties are in the future for you, or some type of financial restriction. This card can come up when people are being evicted, or they're going to have repossessions, or they're just going to lose money or lose property in some way. And even when this card is reversed, it really does not change that much. It's just more intense, like for reals, like you are about to lose whatever it is that you wanted to keep, and that you need to ask for assistance, like from friends or family, or you need to go out of your way and get back the money that you lost. It can also predict that a person will take whatever it is that you have, as in borrowing money from you, or you want to give a loan, but they ain't going to pay you back for it. It's a warning. Like whatever comes out of pocket is out of your life for good. So the Six of Pentacles is the second Taurus decan, so it will be Taurus Mercury. This card is all about generosity and helping somebody up. As you can see here, it's pretty self-explanatory. And that's how I wanted to create the cards, that they're easy to read. And yes, you have to use your intuition, but also you could just look at the picture and instant download. We have a little parrot in the sky bringing down a necklace too. So it's predicting that something that you're going to say, because you know parrots, they like to repeat things, something that you've learned or something that you're going to speak into existence is going to bring about an opportunity for you, an opportunity to advance in either your job or something career or even school, whatever it is, financially or educational. If we scroll down here, we see that she has a big old bag of money. So when this card is in reverse, it could mean that you are being completely selfish. Like the hand that lifts you can also drop your ass. As in, if you're not sharing the wealth after somebody helped you, then they're just going to let you go and fall to your doom, right? They're just waiting to drop you on your ass. Or it can also mean, again, depending on the question, it can also mean that this person up here is not trustworthy and that they only want you for the money. They're only helping you because they see dollar signs. It can also mean that a person needs to ask for assistance, like they can't do it by themselves. And this is common with people who own businesses or is trying to start a business of some kind, or it could just be a person who just wants to do everything themselves. They're a control freak and they are not capable of doing everything themselves. Like everybody has their own limitations to things. Like it's okay to ask for help, regardless if it's upright or reversed. It's a dynamic between two people. Either they're helping each other in a positive way without expectations or without obligations, or it's reversed and somebody has ulterior motives and it's the only reason that anybody's asking for assistance in the first place. The Seven of Pentacles is the last Taurus decan, so it's going to be Taurus Saturn. For this card, it's the number 7, so 7 of golden opportunities or 7 of money opportunities. So if we look really closely, we see that she's, resting over here, but she's digging for gold. It just seems to be coming out of the ground. You even have this little gopher here helping her. And, gophers, they're always building tunnels and they're always working down there, but they're probably sleeping too. I don't know too much about gophers, so don't quote me on that. Regardless of what it is, they're down there doing their thing. But I also wanted to portray some kind of comfort, so food, indulgence of some kind. So we have all this money, and even though money is coming in, it doesn't mean we can't relax. It doesn't mean we can't reward ourselves. That's why we see this little wine, the bread, and all the grapes. It's just, this little picnic area. Because there's a time for work and there's a time for play. And let me tell you, I had fun painting these little itsy bitsy things. Like I was obsessed with painting little things for a little bit. It was a phase of mine and I quite enjoyed it. We're also seeing the ocean in the background here. Again, trying to portray relaxation or serenity of some kind. And it's just finding the beauty in everything that is around us and just feeling grateful or being appreciative of all the opportunities that have come in. The Taurus cards are the middle cards of the suit. So we're in a middle phase of some type of project, career, financial. If this card is in reverse, it really just means possessiveness or some kind of gluttony or just being a hoarder of some kind, like you're hoarding money, you're hoarding food, you're hoarding something, or you're feeling very insecure about your money, so you're just trying to save up as much as possible, which isn't a bad thing to save up, but sometimes people go overboard and it's crazy town. Like they're obsessed with money and they make it their entire life. It's their entire personality. So this card can come as a reminder for somebody, hey, you need to relax. You need to go out into nature, or you need to ground yourself in the world somewhere. Maybe go on a trip and just not think about money or not worry about money so much. And with the cherry blossom tree, I always feel like this is like a blessing. It's luck when you see things blossom and it's beautiful and it's just captivating. That's really what it is. Like, cherry blossom trees are just captivating to me. Like, they are my favorite tree. I'm sure you know that by now. The Eight of Pentacles is the first Virgo decan, so it's going to be Virgo Mercury. I really loved painting this card because coming from the Seven of Pentacles, and I already told you guys I loved painting little things, I went a little overboard with this because the Eight of Pentacles is going overboard and in search of new discoveries or new things that we want to learn about or new things that we become obsessed with, like all these little things. But this card is more than just what I like. This card is about experimentation and education. The Eight of Pentacles has always been the card of growth. And when we are developing ourselves, we go through a growth spurt. We're just accumulating so much knowledge and either implementing things into our lives, our daily routines, or we're just dismissing things altogether. Maybe we're just learning meaningless information like gossip and celebrity gossip. I'm guilty of that. This card predicts that you're on the verge of something innovative. And I'm not talking about gossip or anything. I'm just talking about like work in general. I also see this card as the card of improvement. So even though we're experimenting with things, sometimes these science experiments can be a failure. Sometimes they're a success. It doesn't matter what the outcome is as long as you're being productive, as long as you're learning as you go. So failures aren't really failures. They're learning lessons. They're helping us develop and refine our skills. And I also wanted to make this person a more mature person because we are at the end of the suit. So 8, 9, and 10 are the ending cards of the suit. So this card is more about refining everything that you've learned. But it's all about the bigger picture as well as the smaller details. So it's going over everything with a fine-tooth comb. When this card is in reverse, it's this negative obsession with meaningless information. Like celebrity gossip. Sometimes we go down the rabbit hole. Or going down the rabbit hole of like TikTok or whatever social media app that's out there. And we're not being productive. And we're just making excuses so that we don't have to do the work or we don't have to work on ourselves. It's easier just to watch other people do it, right? It can also mean that somebody's very critical of themselves or that they're very stagnant or they're very unorganized. Their environment, their office, their room is just a complete mess. Just like it is down here. It's a complete mess. It's not always healthy to be that messy. Sometimes it can feel claustrophobic or very cluttered. So depending on what the situation is for the client, you might be telling them, hey, clean up your room. It's gonna make you feel some type of relief. It can also predict that somebody is feeling the stress or the pressure of not getting anything done or feeling overwhelmed with too many moving parts. So they're just going to have to narrow down the information or narrow down the research because it's just too overwhelming. They need to commit and focus on that one project or need to focus on that one task. Some people work better that way. It could also mean that a person is not good with constructive criticism, so they're just going to do what they do and not give a fuck. Or that they think they know more than you do because they've lived longer or they have more experience. So again, it really just depends on who the person, the client, and it just depends on the question itself because it can go either way, man. The Nine of Pentacles is the second Virgo decan, so it's going to be Virgo Saturn. And this card to me is the card of not just luxury, but some type of deep appreciation for material possessions. Like some of us are just really into jewelry, like myself. Like nobody will ever know that, but I really love jewelry. Well, now you guys know that, so I guess it's not a secret anymore. But this card to me, being a 9, it's near the end of this journey. So this is more of a rewarding feeling like, hey, it's okay now to indulge. Don't overindulge, but you can reward yourself now and enjoy the wealth that you've built so far. So with the number 9s, it's always this intense feeling because we're near the end. Or that it's already perfect the way that it is. You know, there's that saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. When this card is reversed, it means that a person is very high maintenance or they have very unrealistic standards. They might really be into status and wealth and just vanity in general, or being completely superficial, or very judgy. They're judgy of other people and judge people based on what they have and not who they are. We've all met somebody like that. It can also be a person who's very nitpicky, or somebody that likes to tell other people how to dress, what to do, where to go. Person who's really obsessed with perfection. It can also mean that a person likes quality more than quantity, or if it's reversed, then it's quantity over quality. But they could just be buying things just to buy things that they don't actually really need. This card can also mean that a person is searching for perfection in themselves and just living their life based on some unrealistic standard for themselves or for other people. Regardless of what it is, the Nine of Pentacles is all about perfection in itself. So the situation is perfect. A person is looking for perfect or any kind of perfection whatsoever. The Ten of Pentacles is the last Virgo decan, so it's going to be Virgo Venus. And like all tens, it's the completion of a cycle. So we started from the Ace of Pentacles, which you could see in the background over here, and we have reached a master stage, right? We've reached the end of this journey because we're about to be elevated into the Page. This is the ultimate card of financial success. So when we see this card on the table, it is nothing but fortune. Typically, this card is very positive, meaning a person has reached the pinnacle of their success or graduated from a school or is about to get a raise or promotion. It can also mean that a person is just wealthy in general, like they have a lot of money. Sometimes if this comes up in a love reading, somebody wants to know about a person, this card can come up letting them know, hey, this person's all about their money. So they're a natural provider, or there's somebody that can make it rain on you if that's your thing. When this card is in reverse, it doesn't mean that a person has lost any money at all. It could mean that a person only has possessions, like material possessions and wealth, but they're really lonely. So they have this treasure room that holds no meaning to them. It's not going to love them back. But if you look closely at this card where there are these guards here, these golden guards here, this can also represent somebody who's very guarded or somebody who seeks validation in material possessions or in their success, like they're a workaholic. But again, usually this card is more positive. It's rarely negative. Sometimes it just means that a person is done with their career and they're ready to move on to the next best thing. Or they're ready to change careers, or they've reached the height of their career, like they're management already, or they're about to be management, or become a director, or get the raise that they want. It's usually about the completion or the elevation of money. The Page of Pentacles is the element of Earth itself. I really love this card a lot. If we look really closely, we see that she's carrying a plant here. And if you noticed in the blueprint, that same plant, the ingredient that was there, is in her hand. I love how these things just kind of come full circle. So again, with the pages being the act or the extension of the Ace of Pentacles. So now we're going into more generational wealth or some type of security. So we're seeking a golden opportunity and we will obtain that golden opportunity now. Like the action is already there. So it's almost as if you're being blessed with this plant, right? In my head, the story goes, this is a rare magical plant. It's like a money tree. You know what I mean? It's going to bless you with money. And she's got it in her hands now. So she's going to go plant that and have money for life. But like all pages, it's more environmental as well. This card can predict somebody going to or being in some type of like forest, field, farm, whatever is more earthy, I guess. So if this card comes up in more of like, where do you need to travel, anything like that, usually I like to tell my client, like, okay, so you need to go somewhere where it's very earth-like. Even like mountains or anything rocky. You know, maybe sometimes you're going to go mountain climbing or something like that. You're going to have that kind of adventure. You just need to ground your energy in something earthy. But if it's not about travel, it really is just gathering all the ingredients from the Ace of Pentacles and just creating that or manifesting that type of abundance for yourself. So again, the Ace of Pentacles was the idea of money. The Page of Pentacles is the act of money already in progression. So we've elevated from the Ten of Pentacles, where we've reached this completion stage, and now we're moving up into the world and we are being elevated through our financial decisions. So past financial decisions have led us to this moment, and we're ready for more money. When I painted this card, I pictured it more of like creating a legacy that will last. So something that is everlasting, or creating certain projects that will outlive you, or having a family that will outlive you. Reversed, this card can mean that everything you've worked for is in vain, like it's for nothing, or that you haven't found the golden opportunity yet. You need to go back and collect all of the ingredients in life. And when I say ingredients, you guys, I mean like getting the skills, the education. Like you can't walk around ignorant, you know what I mean? Like you need to go out there into the world, into the earth, and experience life. If you're going to start a business, you need to immerse yourself in the industry itself. So you're learning how to be part of the community, and you know what the community wants. It's taking an active approach, developing yourself in ways that you've never experienced before. And this card can also mean that people have opportunities in their hand and they're letting it slip. Like the opportunity is slipping through their fingers. Some people have imposter syndrome, where they feel like they are not deserving of success. They're not deserving of whatever's in their hands. So they let it go because they're afraid of their own success. This card could be as a reminder that, hey, you have this already. It's already there. You just need to embrace it. You just need to own it. So always encourage yourself or your clients to just go with what's already there, what's already planted. The Knight of Pentacles is a cusp card between Leo and Virgo. So like all royal court cards in my deck, they always symbolize or represent a specific person in our lives. So this symbolizes a person who's an entrepreneur, somebody who's very diplomatic, somebody that's an executive, somebody that's willing to sign a contract with you. Knight of Pentacles can also mean that money is coming in, and very quickly, as in you're going to have to make a quick decision of whether or not you want to sign this contract or you want to get this money. But it could also mean that you're going to have to review things with a more detailed eye. Some people don't like to read the fine print to things. So if you're going through like a legal dispute, or you're going through some kind of contract, like you're going to buy a new house, like read everything or have somebody else read it for you. You might want to bring it to this guy. Or it can point to you possessing this type of energy where you are the diplomat in a situation where you're going to have somebody else sign a contract. Like if somebody's trying to borrow money from you, anything that has to do with money, a contract has to be in place so that both parties understand what's going on. Like they're both on the same page. It's a mutual decision to go into business together, or to get out of business, or to close the deal on something. It could even be signing with a new employer. When this card is in reverse, it's the opposite, as in somebody is going to pass you a bad deal or a bad contract, or somebody's trying to take advantage of you financially. So you need to be more cautious, or you need to have somebody look over it so that you're not going to get fucked over. Regardless of what or who it is, this card represents somebody that can help us with financial decisions. The Queen of Pentacles is a cusp card between Sagittarius and Capricorn. And like all my cards, you guys, you can always, I don't know if I say this for all the cards, but you can find the glyphs of the zodiac signs in the back. So not just the labels at the top. I wanted to give her more of an emerald look here because I wanted green and gold to represent opulence of some kind, because I feel like the Queen of Pentacles possesses that. She embodies that. She has earth all around her. She sits on a throne on top of a little hill of coins, and if you put the King of Pentacles next to her, then you're going to see that they're a matching pair. I also put golden shields around them so that you guys should know that it's more about being protective or preserving what we have or defending our assets. It sounded like I said asses, but I mean assets. Our valuables, our possessions. Again, representing a specific person or an individual. This is a person who's very responsible, a person who's very determined, somebody who's very intelligent and very strategic. This is somebody who's a risk taker, but they're very business savvy. So maybe this is a business mentor or a manager or just somebody high up there that's willing to pass on information or to help guide somebody else. This is also a person who likes to use reason more than they do emotions. And you're going to get that with the King of Pentacles as well, because it's about Earth. So Earth is far removed from emotions. If this card is in reversed, then it points to a person who likes to gamble, or they might have a gambling addiction. Or it can point to a person that can't pay for their own lifestyle, but they still try to live that lavish life anyways. And the Queen of Pentacles can also mean that a person is hiding behind their own vanity. Like what you see is not it's not who they really are. Like they might be flashy, they might show off or be boastful, but it doesn't mean that they have the money to actually back it up. They could just be borrowing these things, renting these things, just to have the status and reputation in society, just to make it look like that, like a facade. But positively speaking, this is somebody who understands how money works. This is somebody who knows that money can be very useful for work and for play. Or it could just point to a woman that's just all about her money. The King of Pentacles is the last card of the suit. So it's going to be a cusp between Aries and Taurus. If we look really closely, this is just a complementary card of the Queen of Pentacles. You see the same scenery as the Queen of Pentacles here because they sit side by side, so they are equal to each other. All kings and queens in my deck are equal to each other. When we look at the King of Pentacles, or when we think of the King of Pentacles, we're thinking of the ultimate provider for himself, for his family, for his loved ones, even for friends. This is a person that prefers comfort over everything else, so they might be more of a homebody. Or they might like to travel, but keep to themselves still. They're not really a talkative person. They're not an extrovert per se, but they like to travel. Have you ever met those kind of people? They won't interact with nobody. They're just enjoying the scenery and enjoying whatever their money can buy them. So they wine and dine themselves. This is that kind of energy. But it can also be a person that's offering you a lifestyle that you yourself can't afford, almost like a sugar daddy. And I know some of y'all are probably like, oh, blah, 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 blah. You have your own opinions, that's fine. But this card still predicts that. It can also predict a sugar mama. Well, it's more of the Queen of Pentacles is more like a sugar mama. But the King of Pentacles is sugar daddy, for sure, for sure. This is also somebody that knows how to manage their money. They know how to budget. But they're not like the Queen of Pentacles where they're just kind of like risking it all. This is somebody that is more reasonable, more logical. They need to know why they should spend the money. There has to be a good enough reason for it. It has to benefit them in some kind of way. So when this card is reversed, this is somebody who can be very money hungry. This can be somebody that's very greedy or very selfish. Or it could be somebody that feels like they can buy you, control you with money. Not all sugar daddies are nice, you guys. This card can also point to somebody who's very influential and very successful. It's also somebody who can be very stubborn and unwilling to bend to other people's requests or demands of them. Can be a good or bad thing. But regardless of what it is, there's this feeling of respect and authority. And almost this dismissive behavior that we get from the King of Pentacles, where if it's not about money, then I don't want to know about it. So pat yourselves on the back because you just finished the entire Pentacles suit. So congratulations. Let's move on to the next one, which is the Swords.